After we had our sheet metal fitting the way we wanted to on the loose change Camaro, it was time to further refine that in the bodywork stage. We don't ever want to make a contour or an edge out of body filler. We make sure that all that is done in steel, but during this process, especially if you're changing panels and doing a lot of metal work, the panels get little nicks in them and dings and dents from being worked on, plus some of the original steel was still in the car. So we went through and disassembled the car, took all the panels off, fitted the body shell onto the rotisserie, and started to perform some body work. And in this case, we used Evercoat Quantum 1 body filler, and we basically started at the bottom and worked our way up. Now, every car that we build here in the shop has a different set of expectations as far as the final product. And this particular customer wanted the bottom of the car to be smooth, painted in a satin black. He didn't want any kind of truck bed liner or any kind of undercoating. So we had to make sure that the bottom of the car was going to be smooth enough to accept a satin black paint finish without showing gouges or weld marks or anything like that. So the crew spent some time applying the filler, blocking it out, getting into all the little cracks and contours and crevices around the Detroit Speed subframe connectors and all the little reliefs in the bottom of the floor pan. And then they moved upwards. The rocker panels were next, and this is really nice to be able to do on a rotisserie, so you can spin the car and work with it right at eye level, so you don't have to lay on your back and be upside down when you're sanding the ridiculously small details like the bottom of a rocker panel. But these are the things that set cars apart. When those details are taken care of, it's what makes them look really, really nice. We also did a lot of body work on the inside of the tub, wherever exposed metal parts would be seen after the interior has been installed. The dashboard got body worked. All of these areas had to be taken care of. And then we moved to the outside of the car, where everything got a skim coat of Quantum 1 body filler once again, and it got blocked straight. There's a lot of time in making sure the seams are clean and crisp, like around the rear window, for example. Originally, there's just a pinch weld where the trunk filler seam meets the quarter panel. And we like those to look nice. Some people like to fill them in. To me, if they're filled in, it looks like it was just body filler smeared over a seam. This was welded properly, seam sealed on the inside. We used some filler to kind of clean up the seam, but we definitely carved the seam line back out of it. And once we had all that stuff done, you'll notice we had some exposed bare steel on the car. We started in a black epoxy, but as you do the body work, you can sand through it in different spots. So we rolled the body shell back into the paint booth and resprayed it again with another coat of Standox epoxy primer to make sure we had corrosion resistance. Now, to do the final body work on the doors and the fenders and the hood and the front sheet metal, we have to put the car back together, get it on its wheels, and make sure that everything is in proper alignment so that we can make sure the panels fit nicely from one to the next. So all the sheet metal went back on the car, and again, the areas where the doors met the fenders and the hood and the front sheet metal, all that got a skim coat of Quantum 1 filler, and it got blocked smooth again. And here we can see body working the new hood that Adam made in our shop. This hood was a little bit of a challenge because it didn't exist until we made it, and the middle of the hood was going to hold a carbon fiber insert that you'd find on a new Camaro ZL1. So we had to make sure that that mounting strategy was figured out so we could attach that scoop to the hood and then body work the opening so that this insert fit nice and looked proper. There's a lot of little things you got to pay attention to, and little details and edges and corners and surfaces, so that when this is all finished off, everywhere you look is nice and clean and smooth. When we were satisfied with the block sanding on the filler, we put the whole thing back into the paint booth and gave it a coat of Evercoat Super Build 4:1 sprayable polyester body filler. And this is done to fill in any sanding scratches that you'd have in the body filler or any other little nicks that you might have missed. It's a high build material that is essentially body filler, but you spray it on instead of smearing it on. Once the super build is applied, we hit it with a couple cans of aerosol black guide coat, which makes it look like camouflage basically. It's a white sprayable polyester with black fuzz all over it. And that gives you an idea when you start to sand, the polyester where the high spots and low spots are, called a guide coat. Once you start blocking all that stuff down, not only can you feel that it's getting smoother, but you can see it because wherever you still have the black primer, you know that that area was not yet touched. So the whole car got block sanded once again with the sprayable polyester, and you can't spray paint right over the polyester, so we had to hit it again with another coat of primer. And once the thing was primed, all the pieces got wet sanded to a really fine grit so that they would accept sealer before getting color. So there's a lot of steps. Put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart, sand the edges, block sand, smear filler, spray stuff, take it apart, keep sanding. But the end result is a car that has all of the edges taken care of, all the panels are straight and smooth, and something that looks good going down the street or in the middle of a high-profile car show.